Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud and shook his hand. L.A. kid stood right behind, took a deep breath and signed on the line, while tears streamed from his mama's eyes. They hopped right up on that Greyhound bus, swapping stories. They laughed and cussed, and they talked about the girls that they loved. They made a pact, shined up their boots, got the call before it hit the news. No clue what they were about to do. Good Tuesday afternoon, Finish This Fight Squad. It's Tuesday, 3:30. It's Finish This Fight time. Thank you all for joining me. We have got some amazing things coming up. And when I tell you amazing, y'all are going to, we've been on a tirade for a while. I've had a chance for like the last 5 years to go around this country and talking about freedom, because y'all know me, I lost my freedom in 2017, wrote the song, had a chance to talk about losing freedom, what that all means, and what that really means. It's not, freedom isn't free. It's not cheap. It costs something. It costs somebody something. Now, you have a choice in this country. You can sit around and just kind of soak it up. What little freedoms we got, you can soak it up, or you can get up off the couch and do something. We got something coming down the block here in about 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, that you should want you to be a part of. It's called Walk for a Hero, Joshua's Journey. And you're going to help, and you're going to hear more about that later today. In September the 6th, we're going to be hosting a telethon on the Patriot Prayer Network. Lots of your favorite big influencers are going to be there. So you need to put that on your schedule. September the 6th, 2 p.m. Eastern time is the telethon for Finish This Fight. Y'all, I've got a Patriot warrior on next. She is this young lady I met about 4 years ago. She's out in the California part of California. Actually, not directly. She's real close to it, though. And she's out here making a difference. I want to say hello to Christine Bish. Chris, welcome to the Finish This Fight podcast, sister.
Hello. How are you?
Girl, if it got any better, I'd be good looking. In fact, every time I get on and introduce people, I got to put my man makeup on because it just makes me a little bit sexier. But let's get back to the reality of the guy that looks like he's been run over by a truck.
I've been run over by a truck. It hurts.
It's no fun at all.
I still have injuries.
It's no fun at all. So, Chris, welcome to the show. Let's talk a little bit. I haven't seen you in person in several years now. I think the last time we hung out was out in Sacramento. And gosh, I'm going to guess 4 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was 4. Something
like it. When you were running for Congress.
When am I not running for Congress?
That's true. When are you not running for Congress? It was shortly after, it had to be 4 years ago, because it was shortly after the shutdown of the shows that we were going to be doing in Vegas and Southern California and that kind of thing. And we just
2020 then. Yeah.
Yeah. And we just kind of met and hit it off. And I found you were running for Congress. I wanted to come out and try to help you win, because Sacramento, California needs some Bish.
Oh, yeah. Well, my motto, time to send a Bish to Congress. Because I'm just a Bish to get things done.
I love that. So talk to us, Chris. Talk to us. Who are you? Where are you from? Why would you want to run for Congress? Talk to me about that. Whoops, hang on. Let me add you to the stage.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one right there. Well, that's just a hobby, taking down Adam Schiff, because I'm not running against him. I'm running for Congress in Sacramento, California, running against supposedly a doctor. I think the best thing about his practice is he's not practicing. He's in Congress. But we need some common sense in Washington, D.C. Look at the craziness going on here in California. Even the craziness going on in Washington. President Trump and our Republican Congress there, they have a lot of work to do. They've got a lot of fixing. Because we know half of President Trump's first term was spent defending lies. And he didn't get full use of his job as president. He didn't get to do the things that all the things he promised to do.
Not
because they robbed him. They robbed us.
Yeah, he was fighting at every turn. There was just no help. And that was from the Republicans, too. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of Republicans, Chris, you're going to have to forgive me, but they can kiss my country butt as well.
Oh, I'm far more colorful than that. I just got a call from a representative. I'll spare him because he's friendly enough. Gentleman I know that's working with the California Republican Party. And he called me on Sunday night and said, Chris, I drew the short stick. And I said, you drew the short stick? The short stick for what? He says, we're calling you. You see, the party is worried that you're taking too many liberties, that you're being too loud, and you're getting more attention is where he was getting to. And that I needed to get with the program and do what I was told.
Yeah. How'd that work out for you?
I got a sore throat because I can't talk enough. Nobody's really told me what they expect of me. But let's face it, I'm in California. In the last election, we elected President Trump.
Right.
People over California overwhelmingly came out to support President Trump, even with our crooked election system out here.
Isn't that crazy? Let's talk about that a minute.
Well, hold on. We lost 3 congressional seats, 3 incumbents. One of them was less than 300 votes. And this crazy Republican Party in California didn't even put up a fight. Now, those same people are saying, we're going to go up against Newsom and just do what we tell you to, even though I know I am not the fair-haired child.
Well, Chris, the swamp is not just the Democrat side. This swampy is swampy on the Republican side as well. We've got too many career politicians that have found their bankroll and their power trip right there in Congress and the House, whether that's on the state side or the federal side. It's been too much for too long. And sister, honestly, that's why I love you and people like you, because you are what our founding fathers designed this Constitution and this republic to be represented by, was people that would go in, do their job, go home, go back to their real estate business, go in, do their job. And it's a sacrifice. It's not a career.
Yeah.
It's a service. It's not a career. And how did they slide that through 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 years ago where they became elite instead of public servants? How did that happen?
Well, they forgot that they were there to serve. They are not there to be our leaders, to be our masters, or be our overseers. They are there as our servants. And unfortunately, a lot of people in this country got lost. They looked at them like rock stars, people to be admired, not people who are going there to do their job. It made it just a little too comfortable, and I'll be honest with you, I'm uncomfortable with this interview process that they call campaigning.
Yeah, that's not the funnest thing you've ever done in your life, I'm sure.
It's not. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of dog and pony show. And if I wanted to be a rock star or a country singer, well, one, I'd need to be able to carry a note, or a tune, other than
They've got auto tune now.
but I'd be up as a backup singer for you, playing an instrument or something. I'm doing this because I have grandkids and I have adult children. There's people that I love.
Yeah.
And like so many other, people that I know that have run for office, Darlene, a mutual friend of ours, it's hard to be this tenacious and keep the momentum going because we know we want to serve. We know we have the right message. We're not one of the cool kids, but the passion is there. And I imagine looking back and watching through history, it wasn't the people who chose to do great things, but it was the people that God tested. And he chooses who the fighters are, who the survivors are.
Chris, I want to chat about that a minute. We were talking about that backstage before we came on. And I hear where you're coming from. What you've chosen to do, put your money, your time, your energy, your family, your efforts towards becoming a representative congressperson there in Sacramento, I wouldn't want to do it. But I'm going to give you a unique perspective. People think about, Glenn's a country music singer, and he's shot a movie and got that out, and he's on, people's different programs, television, podcast. Chris, I'm 57. I'll be 58 years old next month. I started in the country music world at 52. What kind of a dummy am I really? I mean, and here's the thing, and it's similar to politics. Nobody knew me, and I had no leg up. I had no help. People in a lot of the world still don't know me, and I've got music all over the world. I've had a chance to do some pretty cool things, but without the monster that pushes it, I'll never get big. And you know what? I don't even care. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing what I can do by using my voice and my imagination and my creativity to get this message out that we are in a battle. We are in a war. And I believe with my heart, we are in the second revolution. And that's why he's calling them warriors. He ain't calling me because I'm so daggone good looking. I can tell you right now, he's calling me because I don't know how to quit. When God gives me something to do, you better get on board or get the heck out of the way. And Chris, you're a bulldog too. We're from the same family.
You go back far enough, we're all related.
We're from the same family. So let's talk about what you've done and really what brought you into the fight. When did you really wake up and say, you know what, something ain't right? When did that happen for you?
Really it happened in 2019. I was diagnosed with kidney cancer. And even before that, I had heard about a lawsuit here in my community against my water district and the old Air Force base that's not far from me. And so I called the water district because we didn't get any letters. We didn't get any notices. And I had saw the lawsuit and called them, got past a few people trying to, just push me along. Got to talk to a biologist there who told me not to worry. My community is serviced by 10 wells. 7 of the wells were closed because the contamination levels were so high of the, PFAS, the forever chemicals. And then the remaining 3 wells had acceptable levels of contamination. And it was less than 3 weeks later, the doctors accidentally, they found I had kidney cancer. I had a tumor on my right kidney about the size of a walnut.
Acceptable levels to who?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably they don't live where I live. They're not drinking the water that I raise my kids on. But so we went through all the motions. And in the meantime, while I'm going through the testing, getting ready for surgery, I called my representative at the time, Doris Matsui, and I wrote her. Couldn't get a meeting with her because she doesn't really live in California. She lives in Maryland. But I didn't even get I emailed, went on social media, did all that. Couldn't even get the courtesy of a form letter. Thank you for calling, go pound sand. So I'm recovering from the cancer surgery. I'm laying in bed and she comes on TV and she's belly aching about, this is 2019. She's belly aching about Donald Trump and how horrible Trump is. And he's going through all the stuff with Schiff and she's going to do everything in her power to make sure that he is not successful in his remaining time in office. And I'm laying there recovering from major surgery. They took out a third of my right kidney and on all kinds of medication. But then I've got this lady saying she doesn't like who she works with, so she doesn't want to do her job. So I decided while laying in bed that you don't want your job. I want your job. You don't want to work with someone because you don't like them. In the real world, you refuse to do your job, you get fired. Yep. Just like those folks in Texas. They should fire them all. They went on an unauthorized vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Just kick them to the curb. There's somebody
not only a vacation, we paid for it.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, actually, we paid for it. Remember they came to California?
Yeah.
We were the one putting up those Texas refugees.
Mm-hmm.
How about Texas? You take your people back and we'll get some of our patriots back here because I need some more good voters. Make that deal with Texas, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that one. But so that's what initially got me started deciding to run for Congress. And then, of course, as you start digging into things, you find out what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I won my primary in the election. So California, we have a top 2 jungle primary because we're a bunch of animals out here.
Right.
And so it was just her and I running. And I had to do the opposition research. Now, my background is an investigator. So the first thing I said to myself was, where does Doris live? I knew she didn't live in California, but I needed to know, where did she live? So as I was digging into her, doing the opposition research, I ran across Adam Schiff. And Adam Schiff, who wasn't a resident of California, even though he was in the House, just like Doris, his primary residence was in Maryland. So as I'm digging into Doris, they're both live in Maryland. They both ran for office in California while their primary residents were there. So I started running these 2 investigations side by side. So it was very easy for me to do. And I didn't win that race against Doris, but I learned a lot and continued into the in-depth investigation, actually into both of them. And in 2023, I submitted a complaint to the House Ethics Committee, and I sent it in on Adam Schiff because of all of the things that he had done to this country. Really, just the national boogeyman, if you will.
I don't think there's anything he's done positive. It's all shifty stuff.
The guy is, without calling him names, he's just a reprehensible human being. Mm-hmm. And so I was on this mission to prove the mortgage fraud, the wire fraud, the election fraud, all the other things that he had did. And then, so he's in the news and we got a special prosecutor and so I'm still involved in all that because that whole complaint that they brought these charges and got a special prosecutor, it was based on not the 2023 complaint that I sent to Congress, to the House Ethics Committee, not even the 24 complaint that was twice the size of 23. Not even that. It was on April 30th of this year. I got tired of waiting for Congress, someone in the House to do anything. They sat on it. So I sent it to FHFA, all my documents, all my evidence. all of my theories. I have a young man by the name of Darren Ellis. He did review the legal analysis, make sure that my argument was right on. I'm not an attorney, I'm an investigator. So Darren went through and made sure that my legal arguments were sound. And that's what he does. He works for different attorneys and as an assistant, if you will, and preparing documents. So, but he's a brilliant researcher. He's not an investigator like me. He's a researcher. So he proved my arguments and challenged my arguments almost as if we were debating, so that I had that my claim, my argument against Adam Schiff was rock solid. I can't imagine what the defenses would be. So he reviewed it and was an amazing person to sound off on, to bounce off of, to challenge me. And then luckily we had Peter Schweitzer's team come in with Just the News and Peter Solomon or John Solomon. And they were going to run with the story against Adam Schiff. And this is before I even sent it to FHFA. And they challenged me even more. Well, what about this? What is your answer to this? Or, this is what my argument is. And it was like going through a trial. And it was several months, and they pushed me beyond where I knew I could go as an investigator on, the evidence that will be presented with special prosecutor in Maryland. But fast forward, I get it in on April 30th. And of course, I don't get any response, hey, thank you for submitting it. And then on July 15th, my phone is blowing up. It is going crazy. Chris, have you seen what Donald Trump put out? No, I haven't seen anything. And they're all, it's you, Chris. It's he's got your story. Look at that document. It was one of the documents that I had actually included in the evidence that the president had put out on Truth Social. And it was an incredible honor for me, because I do love and respect the president. And so that was just like a little wink. At least that's how I took it, is, it was an acknowledgement, a confirmation that I was doing the right thing. I wasn't looking for a pat on the head, but it was that little wink and a nod,
Yeah, but when you spend enough time in the trenches, a little wink or a nod of the head is a lot.
It inspires you, and it inspired me. Well, then within a couple of days, we get the release that it was on May 27th, less than 30 days. Now we're talking federal government. And this wasn't a military action where, we can move troops a lot faster than that and plan things. It was 27 days from the day I submitted it that there was a referral from Fannie Mae to the Department of Justice. So whatever was going on between May 27th and July 15th, when President Trump put that out on Truth Social, they were verifying my evidence. They were making sure that, this wasn't made up, that this was real. And there is a website out there, I believe it's Federal Crimes, Federal or White Collar Fraud.com. And they wrote something, and I got it on my phone. I saved it. It says, when career prosecutors and federal agencies review evidence and conclude it warrants special prosecutor oversight, it confirms the serious nature of the alleged criminal conduct. And they're talking about me. Without you saying my name.
Yeah, some of the biggest stuff that's happening right now is being instigated and pushed forward from lay people. Yeah. Laura Loomer is a wild person. She's vetting the crap out of people. Does she go overboard? I'm pretty tough, and she makes me a little bit uncomfortable. But just the things that have happened in the last few days, pushed forward by her. This stuff that we're seeing on the news right now, Letitia James, Adam Schiff, these scoundrels. Guess what? Somebody's finally pushing it forward. And who does it happen to be? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Chris Bish.
Well, thank you. You know, it's crazy. I talked to Sam. He's the gentleman who did the investigation on Letitia James. Now, I just talked to him about a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing Letitia James on his own. He was not hired to do that. He just, it was funny when I talked to him, our brains work so much alike. It's you catch like a hound dog, you just catch that whiff and just take off the collar and let the dog go.
Right.
And he was in New York running down Letitia James. I'm in California running down Adam Schiff. We had never talked. We had never compared notes. Didn't even know the other one existed.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit back to back.
Really?
What are the chances of that? We were both put on
the chances are pretty high when the crime is very similar.
But it's not. You have to have. I'm an expert in real estate and mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been doing since Oh my gosh, 2003.
No, you don't have to say it. No, you don't have to say it.
2003.
Okay.
I've been doing real estate and mortgage, but before that, I was an investigator in a law firm for 10 years. Had the opportunity to help a couple bounty hunters track down some bad guys. Mm-hmm. I used to repossess cars. Love my hair on fire, but I'm a grandma now, so I can't do that.
Chris, you still got that flavor, though. I know you do. I've seen it.
But yeah, and I've done financial investigations as expert witness, working with lawyers involved in real estate matters, and been able to help on a few cases. Can't go into those, but so I've kept my skills sharp as could be.
Uh-huh.
But we put together this complaint against Adam Schiff, and there's some people that are recognizing me for what I've done, and others are just kind of running with it, grifting, if you will. And it's not about getting the credit. It's about if you're going to do this, if you're going to talk about this, you have to understand. And I have this unique skill set that understands real estate, understands mortgage, understands tax law, understands election code, at least as far as California goes. I can't go to every state, but for California, became pretty good in Maryland and U.S. election code. And that's just from running for office that I acquired these skills, if you will. And I guess it's being the right person at the right time.
Well, let's chew that up just a second, Chris, because we've got two similar crimes that are being investigated right now. And you got the left screaming, well, it's retribution. It's not even close to retribution. The made up crap that they brought on President Trump, I mean, having to actually change the timelines and the statute of limitations and throwing 31 felonies on one possible misdemeanor was such a stretch of the imagination. Mm-hmm. And even the left is seeing and saying, what in the world's going on?
But this wasn't retribution. And I know because according to one of these articles that I was looking at, Schiff's looking at 30 years mm-hmm. in prison. And you know what the really sad thing about this is? Well, I don't know if it's sad. It could be justice. He got his wife to sign all those papers too while she was registered in California. So even if he had a defense, wifey poo doesn't.
Yep. And
here's the thing.
James and her daddy did the same thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Craziness. So let's talk about what the crime really is. So people can understand that it is a legitimate investigation. What is the crime they're being charged with?
Well, they haven't been charged yet. They're still under a grand jury investigation.
What is the crime that they're going to be charged with?
mortgage fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, perjury. That's what's with the grand jury. In the case that I allege, it's really a catch-22. And the grand jury will have the ability, if they haven't already done it, I don't have any inside information, to expand their scope. Because we had Adam Schiff in Maryland, living there, raised his family there, claimed that this was his primary residence. This is where he lives. This is where he raised his family. He even went on TV. In 2024, we had the last election. I had put in that second ethics report. And, there was Peter Schweitzer and John Solomon had covered it, and it started picking up steam before the election. And one of the local TV stations here actually caught him at an event and said, "What's this about the mortgage fraud?" And he says, "Oh, it's nothing. I made no secret that I was moving my family to Maryland so my kids could be near me." You moved your family to Maryland. You took out a mortgage saying that this is where you live. But then he said that he actually lived in an 800 square foot condo, a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo that was supposed to fit him, his kids, his wife, any critters, and his personal belongings. See, that's how they kicked RFK Jr. off the ballot in New York.
Right.
So we already know that argument didn't hold. And so then now what we're looking at is we've got Adam Schiff, mortgage fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, tax fraud, residency, claiming a false residency. But while he's doing all this in Maryland, in California, he claims he's living in this condo above a parking garage and a bar. And in Burbank, that he's a resident here, that he's running for office here, he's duly elected here, his wife is registered to vote here. You can't have both. It's one or the other. And the truth is, and Adam Schiff knows it, he's in a catch-22. I don't care which fraud he gets fried on.
Something got to give.
One or the other. Pick one. You're in the frying pan, man. That's all there is to it.
They never thought they'd get caught.
Who looked? And even when I looked and I submitted it to Congress, under a Republican Congress, think about it, Kevin McCarthy, it was there. I don't know if McCarthy ever saw it. I'm sure they get all kinds of crazy complaints and I get calls now that this is out. People, can you investigate this person? Can you investigate this person? No, not really. I don't just jump on the bandwagon. I'm not out there to, like one of the prosecutors in the Salem witch trials, just bring me the next one.
Right. Chris, the battle is deep, and you've been deeply involved with it as long as I've known you. You filed a lawsuit against Gavin Newsom several years ago. Yes, I did. That went clear to the Supreme Court, if I remember right.
Well, we were in the Ninth Circuit, and we didn't get all the way to the Supreme Court, but Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, in order to keep the case from moving forward, had to release the emergency order for the unconstitutional lockdown. And it was at the time, Harmeet Dillon was lead counsel on that lawsuit. So, we were winning, even in the Ninth Circuit Court.
Wow.
They said that I had standing because what they were doing with their lockdown here was interfering with a federal election. I was running for Congress, and the things that they were doing prevented me from effectively running a campaign.
Well, and they affected a lot of things.
I'm not afraid of anybody.
No, I don't. No, I saw it.
I've got survival instincts. I got common sense, which is why I waited a whole night before I pushed the button on Adam Schiff. But if I'm not willing to step up and defend my rights, the rights of my children, my family, my community, my state, my country, how in the hell can I expect anybody else who's willing to step up? Like I said, I didn't serve with a gun in my hand, but I will serve to the best of my ability. Now, I'm a 59-year-old cancer surviving overweight grandma. So you guys are getting what I got left.
Well, here's the thing. In order to even get on this podcast, you have to be a warrior. I don't bring people on that haven't gone through a battle, and I mean a real battle. And so, Chris, thanks for coming on the show. We're going to take a real quick break, and I want to come back and talk to the audience about some things that you and I saw in Sacramento, some of the things that you've been through in the last 4 or 5 years that hurt you, nearly broke you, I think, in some instances, but made you tougher, and what the plans are for the future. So Chris and I met face to face. I think it was 21, honestly, because it was when I had released No New Normal. When I flew out to Sacramento, people were still wearing masks out there like crazy. Yep. But I don't think it was 20. I think it was 21.
Might have been 21.
Regardless, we spent 2 or 3 days going around looking for venues, talking to people, and you took me by an encampment. And I could not find the video. I've got it on my Google Drive somewhere, I think. So I wasn't able to show it. But there's things that have come from my life in the military, my experience with veterans that we're working on right now. I want to take a real quick break and share this with the audience. And then we'll come back and chat about that. So hang tight real quick.
So I had a 60 millimeter mortar that landed 3 feet in front of me, and so it didn't cook off. And so it technically they would consider it to be a dud, but it wasn't a dud. It had a broken propeller on it. I got pictures of it. I carry it with me and stuff. It's about the size of a 1.5 liter bottle, but it has kill radius about 25 meters, 20 to 25 meters. So basically, if that round would have went off, then confirmed dead would have been 20 to 25 meters. Been 31 months since I've been able to stand on even with a brace, or being able to take one single step. So it's been 31 months to the day yesterday.
And then God leaned in and he said, you know what? You're going to do a foundation. You're going to be the one to help these boys, and some girls, I'm sure, get to walking again, back on their feet.
It became so real when we physically came here and I physically got to see face to face to that unit, and knowing that, I mean, like I said, it's pretty much like an avatar. I mean, I felt like I, plugged in and we became one. Like I was breathing with it, like, I mean, it just incredible. I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even describe the feeling that I have. But like, it was like deep down inside of me, it's like, you know what, I felt like I can fight again. I really am able to stand again, and I'm like, I can do this.
Like, I guess the sense of pride, like to stand tall, no matter what height you are. Not a jab at Glenn, but just to stand. Just to stand, I think, is huge. We take it for granted.
Y'all, we just got back from New York 4 weeks ago. That was Joshua Holm and his wife, Crystal. We took them to New York. Joshua was wounded in 2003 in Iraq. It was Iraqi freedom. Was wounded 3 times. He was hit in the chest with shotgun rounds. He was hit twice with mortar side blasts. And as a result, in 2021, a neck injury completed and put him into a wheelchair from now on. He took his last steps December the 21st, 2021. And he hasn't walked in a while. So we had a chance to take him to get fitted for that exoskeleton. He made his first steps in over 3 years. And we are on the push right now to raise enough money to get him one permanently when it becomes available through the FDA this year. It's a self-balancing exoskeleton, the first of its kind in the United States. And we want you to come on board and help with that. We are launching the Walk for a Hero, Joshua's Journey fundraiser this September. The 6th, we'll have a telethon on the Patriot Prayer Network. The 20th, we'll launch the walkathon. Any of you, doesn't matter where you are, can walk for a hero and just join this fundraiser. Get up off the couch and do something to help somebody that helped you. And that's what we're doing, Chris. And I wanted to show that to the audience. Go to givesendgo.com/finish this fight right here. givesendgo.com/finish this fight. Give. If it's $5, 10, 15, 100, if you got 15 grand laying around, that'd be great.
If you got 15 grand laying around, hey, fishforcongress.com.
There you go. But we need some help. I've spent what money I've had, and it's been over 6 figures. Yeah. And it's not I can't do it alone. I need your help. So I want to share that with you. Now, Chris, you and I had a chance a few years ago when I was out there to drive around Sacramento. And you showed me some things that I had never seen before. Homelessness has tripled in Fort Lauderdale since the COVID fiasco, since the great pandemic. But when we drove around in 2021, I saw a homeless encampment like I'd never seen. And talk to me about that. What is it still there?
No, it's moved down the road a little bit. They've been keeping them on the move. So when you were out here in Sacramento, I took you on a little stretch of road here called Roseville Road. And it runs along the railroad tracks on one side. And then there's a good portion of it. There is a big golf course on the other side. Mm-hmm. And on the golf course side, I took you under the overpass. And we saw the camps, the tent cities. This looks like something you would see in a third world country.
Yeah, I did.
Cans with fires and dilapidated homes, people living in old boats with tarps over them. Mm-hmm. It was just crazy. And one of the last things we saw as we were driving through is I showed you a veterans camp, and it was under the overpass.
I was a freaking mess.
It was a freaking mess, but you know, it was one of the most amazing experiences. A few months before that, a young man came out. Oh my goodness. And it's the persistence is what he does. And I know his name. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, too much going on, but anyhow, we were cleaning up along that road. I had a bunch of people out there, and we were cleaning up, and the very first camp was a camp of veterans, and it was pretty neat, and they were all, clean, what I mean by neat. And they were all in this one designated area, and right in the middle, they had put a flagpole.
Yes, they did.
And they had an American flag flying. And that was what I wanted to show you. But the story behind that. So I had been there, like I said, several months before doing Scott Pressler is his name, with Scott Pressler. Okay. And we were doing a cleanup there. And a lot of the people that wanted to clean up some of this homeless mess, they didn't understand about being homeless, because I was homeless as a kid. So there is an etiquette, if you will. And so I'd explain to them, we don't just walk into these campsites. Mm-hmm. These people, whatever you think of it, this is where they live. This is their home. You can't just treat them like animals, like you're trying to move a nest. So as you approach, particularly with these vets, it was a safe place for me to teach them. And I walked up, introduced myself. I said, I have volunteers that would like to clean up the perimeter and haul off some of this trash for you. And the gentleman who was pretty much in charge, leading this group of veterans, he gave us permission to enter their campsite and pick up whatever trash we could and go around the perimeter as to be respectful to, these people who had served. And as we're leaving his campsite, and I've got them picking up trash, we're going down. This is miles and miles. Guys, you've never seen anything like this in your life. Miles and miles.
Right next to a railroad tracks and golf course, and, backing
up to houses. Yeah, it's just craziness. And one of the gentlemen came out to me and he said, tell your people not to go beyond the bend in the road. We call that zombie land, and we can't protect you there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've got people in their little kids' tennis shoes and their garden gloves out there picking up, everything from needles to tires to,
Right.
go around the human feces and all of this craziness going on. These are homeless vets, and they were worried about protecting us. And it still brings a tear to my eye, is no matter how bad their situation was, they still wanted to protect and serve. And that has, I got in for my own reasons. And the more I see, the more amazing people that I meet, I'm empowered. I don't get up in the morning. I am lifted out of bed to go fight.
Sister, I was sitting in the truck you were driving, and I was filming that as we drove down the road, and I was openly weeping.
Yeah, you were.
And I'm about to again, just remembering it, that these people that fought, put themselves on the line, countries kind of turned their back on them because they're having to live next to the railroad tracks in Tent City, still have the American flag flying over their home, still protecting other people when they've been crapped on. We've got to do better. We've got to do better. And I'm going to do what I can do, and you're doing what you can do. We all need to come together. If we come together as a country, if we come back and recreate this as the United States of America, not the divided states, the United States, there's power in the people. We've just forgot it over the course of many, many decades. And it's up to people like Chris Bish. It's up to people like Glenn Baker. It's up to people like Presley that's out there doing his thing still yet today to get us motivated to come together and make a change. But y'all, I was weeping watching this. And I've been through some hell. And Chris has been through some hell. But I haven't lived by the side of a railroad track. That's rough. That's rough, y'all. So, Chris,
I'll always remember that, and it will guide when I'm elected to Congress. Our veterans will have no greater advocate, because they were willing to put their life down to protect me, and I'm willing to go to war for them.
Well, and I've seen that, and that's why I wanted to have you on today. Chris, there's some other things. During your first run, I believe, for Congress, you had something devastating happen in your life. Can we talk about that?
It was actually my second run, and I ended up dropping out before the primary. Okay, I was still on the ballot. I couldn't get off the ballot, but my oldest daughter passed away. Yeah.
And she didn't just pass away.
No, she didn't. She was hooked on fentanyl. And I found out later she had died twice, and they were able to revive her. And she was smoking it, and she ended up having a severe asthma attack that shut down her airways, and the damage from smoking fentanyl was so bad that they couldn't save her. So, she literally OD'd, shut down her airway, and died from fentanyl.
Chris, I'm just naive enough that I don't think I'd ever heard much of fentanyl until that happened to your daughter. How prolific, how prevalent was it in your area?
It's everywhere. And it's not just my area. I make phone calls, fundraising, talking about the campaign all over from, Hawaii, Alaska, up to New York, New Jersey, Texas, Oklahoma, Utah, you name it. I have called all over this country. And when I talk to people, and not everybody gets that story, but, we'll start visiting, and I like to visit. And Everybody's been affected by it. Everybody. Everyone in this nation, because if it wasn't somebody you loved, it was a kid at school, a neighbor, somebody at work lost somebody. And it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care what color you are, what your religion is, what your age is, what your sex is, how much money you make. It does not care. It kills indiscriminately.
And fentanyl is
Killed
so
my daughter.
absolutely. It's so dangerous. What do you see going? I'm sure you're paying attention. What do you see going on in the world with it now that the border has more or less been shut down? Are we controlling it, or is there enough that's already been in the country that it just continues to be prevalent?
It's still continuing to come in because now they're coming in by boat, and they'll send in multiple boats, more than Coast Guard can catch. Right, because that's going to be spoilage. That's just the cost of doing business for China and the cartels. And they have tunnels, just like the troglodytes in the Middle East. They run around like rodents in the tunnels. Here, they'll drop them off. We found in California manufacturing sites where they were bringing in the chemicals necessary to make the illegal drugs. So President Trump and shutting down the border is really putting a crimp in what they are doing. And that's the southern border. Now, remember, we still have a lot of other borders, and that stuff can come in through Canada. Like I said, coming in on our shores all over the country.
Yeah. We had just 15 miles from me a couple of months ago. A boat made it to the shore with 27 fighting age Chinese men.
Yeah.
Jumping off the boat and running up into Pompano Beach. I mean,
so it's like Normandy or something. And it really is. This is war. And out here in California, we had the big fire down there in Malibu and the Palisades and all that. Now we find out that the governor of California is fast tracking selling all of that prime real estate, not giving out the permits and selling it to Chinese nationals, giving up coastal land to foreign enemies.
It's
what
crazy.
In the world are we doing?
It's
this guy, he should be tried for treason.
He should be. And what's so sad is I heard patriots the day of the fire and a day or two later saying, watch, this is what's getting ready to happen. And sure enough, this is what's getting ready to happen. And sure enough, it is what's happening. Is they're selling
because it's exactly what they did in Hawaii.
Exactly what they did in Hawaii. I had a Michelle, it's not Rodriguez, it's I'll think of it in a minute. She's an author in Oahu, and she's writing books about that right now and seeing it every day. In Oahu, in Hawaii, they actually fenced that area off and wouldn't let people even go back to their properties.
I actually went down there. I had a client who wanted to buy some lots down there, American citizen, and we were turned around by the National Guard.
Y'all, if you don't get out, if you don't pay attention, if you're just continuing to live in the bubble that you've been in your whole life, you're not seeing what's really happening here. When I tell you we're in a war, we are in a war, and it's a spiritual battle that's manifesting in the physical. I wrote a song in 21 called No New Normal, and I almost think I prophesied at that time because my third verse says there's a war going on that you cannot see, and it's happening all around us. And it is happening on a daily all over this country. And we've got people like Chris Bish that's stepping up. I know so many warriors from what God has put me in to do today and in place to do today. I see it. Y'all need to pay attention if you're not. We are in a battle. Chris Bish, what is the next move for you, sister? We've been talking for close to an hour. I know you've run twice. I know you've filed some lawsuits. I know you're a bulldog. Don't tell your husband I said that. He got some big old hands. That guy's got some meat hooks on his hand.
He's big enough to back up my mouth.
He absolutely is. What's the next step for Christine Bish?
Well, I have some meetings coming up. I am very proud of the Republicans in the California legislature. They are taking on Gavin Newsom the best that they can, and that is a David and Goliath. We do not, the Republicans or Democrats have a supermajority in California, and they have declared war on Republicans, anybody who is not part of their ilk, if you will. And they were able to stall off this redistricting that we're all hearing about. And they were able to stall it off till Thursday night. So I am looking at my options as a federal candidate, what I can do to stop Gavin Newsom in his tracks. I'm never one to back down from a fight, even if I am outgunned and outmanned and outflanked. I got God on my side. So we've got that going on. I'm running for Congress. And then we've got the Schiff case that finally broke, that's been picked up by the Department of Justice. They are running that down. I am continuing my research. I know the feds are on it, but let's face it, he'd been doing that for 20 years and none of them caught it. So I'm going to use the gifts that I have and keep digging and watch that dude squirm. And, like any other American, we need a one-tier justice system, and no one is above the law. In Adam Schiff's famous last words. But I'll add to that, including a sitting United States senator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not that the feds didn't know it; it's that we had people covering up for it.
Well, I think in the last administration, yes. What I've learned in being around a lot of these politicians is, and running for office has given me a new insight, is they get a lot of stuff. They get some tinfoil hat stuff. Mm-hmm. So when they get something that is true, that's real, like the Adam Schiff, from the outside world looking in, you think, who is this lady? Just some broad real estate agent, fake nails and blonde hair. What could she possibly know? And they just discount it. But right. They see so much that it took me to extreme lengths to make sure that I got past their, I guess they're jaded. And they're used to seeing this stuff. And how do you take it all seriously? So when I talk to people, I'll have people say, Chris, well, what about this and what about that? I said, whoa. I am one person. This is my hobby. It is not my job. I am doing my best and trying to force other people to do their job. So what I would say to everybody out there, if you're listening, we want you to give to Glenn's project first. But if you got a little bit left over, if you would help me out, because I will take the fight. I want my job to be investigating corruption, uncovering corruption. We saw finally, hey, Elon Musk, he had a hard act to follow, but he had a lot of money and technology. He had to follow me.
Send a Bish to Congress, y'all. Send a Bish to Congress.
Well, when your name is Chris Bish, you have to own it or they will own you.
Yeah. You know what? I absolutely resonate with that, because when you're a full-grown man at 5'4" on a good day, you got to own that stuff too.
Exactly.
I've heard every short joke in the book. I ain't nobody made up nothing new in a decade. So.
Yeah, and I get called a pit bull all the time. Not even a tack dog. They go down to pit bull, and my husband corrects them and says, "No, she is a honey badger. A pit bull has nothing on Chris."
And I would agree. Chris Bish, thanks for joining us on Finish This Fight podcast today. I really appreciate you. If you want to stick around for the afterthoughts, we can do that. Y'all, finish this fight is going strong. GiveSendGo.com/finish this fight. If you don't like veterans, send it to Chris Bish. She likes them, and she's gonna help some veterans out there. Y'all, we're in a battle. You got a choice. You can get up off the couch, or you can sit back and watch. But I guarantee you're going to see my dust, and don't
go to Starbucks. Send it to us.
Exactly. Tomorrow we have Dr. Pete Chambers, the doc, coming on at 3:30 Eastern time. And he is running for governor of Texas. He's kicking butt and taking names. So y'all join us tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern time right here on Finish This Fight. On the other side, I will see you. I am out.
Forward, halt, left, 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 right, your left, 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 right.
Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud and shook his hand. L.A. kid stood right behind, took a deep breath and signed on the line, while tears streamed from his mama's eyes. They hopped right up on that Greyhound bus, swapping stories. They laughed and cussed, and they talked about the girls that they loved. They made a pact, shined up their boots, got the call before it hit